Youconomics, perhaps the most fluid one and least awkward one so far. But it's also going to be the final installment for Youconomics, which fills me with infinitely more sorrow than I thought any economics themed YouTube channel ever could. But basically, for the last time, my name's Hugh.
I'm
Matthew's there behind the camera. And today we're going to be kind of going over a quick recap of everything that we've covered in kind of a last minute cram before your exam style.
So firstly, we'll start with perfect competition, which is obviously more of a theory than it is effective in reality. And so the traits of perfect competition are there are a large number of both buyers and sellers in the market. The product that each firm produces is homogeneous. There is full knowledge of both profits and prices. There is freedom of entry into the industry. Firms are profit maximizers. Firms face a perfect elastic supply of factors of production, and no collusion exists on the market.
That's perfect competition. But then there's monopoly, which is an example of imperfect competition. So monopolies are at the end of the spectrum of imperfectly competitive markets because there is no competition between firms and monopoly. It's because theoretically in a monopolistic market there's only one firm, so the firm is essentially the market, therefore it's only in competition with itself, which is no competition. But in reality, however, if a firm holds over 25% of market share, they have monopolistic power. The key defining aspect of monopoly firms are that they are price makers, not price takers. But how do they arise? They arise because other firms find it very difficult, even impossible, to enter the market. These are called barriers to entry, the factors that prevent them from entering the market. These can be statutory monopolies, the ownership of a patent or a copyright, the sole rights to raw materials, the large capital investment needed to actually set up the particular business, or then the idea of like mergers and takeovers forming a monopoly.
But monopolies are generally undesirable for a form of market structure. The monopolist produces less than the socially efficient quantity of output, and this is known as deadweight loss. However, monopolies have some debated benefits, such as economies of scale, guaranteed supply of product or service, employment, reduced use of scarce resources, and potential for innovation. Legislators, however, will primarily tackle monopolies by increasing the efficiency of monopolies, regulating monopoly behaviour, and privatise state-run monopolies into public enterprises.
But then that leads us nicely into our next form of market structure in imperfect competition, which is monopolistic competition. So basically it differs from monopoly, wherein even though they have like kind of the same word at the beginning, monopolistic competition has also the word competition in it, which is to more or less say that there are many firms producing goods within the market, but that the firms are differentiated and nuanced from each other, so they argue a monopoly on that particular version of the same product. But in essence, it refers to a competitive market where the firms are again price setters. Okay, and it is generally accepted that most market situations in the real world can be represented by the model of monopolistic competition. So the main characteristics of it are that there are many firms in the industry, the product differentiation exists, profits and costs are reasonably known, no total barriers to entry exist, and that again the firms seek to maximise their profits.
The impacts on society of monopolistic competitive markets are the markup of price over marginal cost, as occurs in all monopoly pricing. Situations is undesirable for consumers as they suffer from higher prices than if the firm operated in perfect competition. Consumers gain some new consumer surplus from the introduction of a new product or from a new firm. And the number of firms in the industry is that the other firms lose customers and profits to new competitors. Then we go on to the topic of advertising. Now there's 4 types of advertising: generic advertising, competitive advertising, persuasive advertising, and information advertising. The negative externalities to advertising are that it increases prices, it's manipulative, there's impulse buying involved, harmful consumption, and unnecessary pollution. While the advantages of advertising are it informs customers on the price of goods being offered for sale, the key features and qualities of the good, the existence of new products, and location of retail outlets. It reduces market power as it fosters competition by informing customers of price differences in all the firms in the market, and it is a means of entry into the market as new firms are able to attract customers away from existing firms.
But then there's branding, which brings its own set of negative externalities and positive externalities. The negative ones being that branding manipulates consumers into perceiving a product differences that do not actually exist. But then there's the positive externality, which is that it gives firms the incentive to meet the expectations of their customers. Therefore, your customers can be given certainty regarding the product that they're actually going to consume. Then there's our next example of market structure.
Which is an oligopoly. And an oligopoly is a market structure in which only a few sellers offer similar or identical products. and dominate the market. It refers to competition amongst the few. Well, an example of an oligopoly is the chocolate industry in the European Union. Cadbury, Mars and Nestle dominate the industry. Being so large and dominant, they are able to influence the quantity of chocolate bars produced, and given the market demand curve, the price at which chocolate bars are sold.
The main characteristics of an oligopolistic market are that there are a few firms in the market, product differentiation exists. There is differentiation, or at least attempts to differentiate the products from one another. That was my bad. And then there's also market segmentation. There's interdependence amongst the firms in oligopolistic market, and that competition and collusion are occurring within an oligopolistic market.
Now we're on to the game theory, which is the study of how people behave in strategic situations. By strategic, we mean a situation in which each person, when deciding what actions to take, must consider how others might respond to that action. Oligopolistic firms generally act in ways explainable by game theory, where they act taking into account the actions of other firms to maximise their mutually beneficial outcomes.
However, that would require some degree of cooperation, and cooperation amongst oligopolists is generally seen as undesirable from the point of view of us, society as a whole. Because it leads to production that is too low, prices are too high, therefore not very good for us. So many policymakers try and intervene to induce firms in oligopoly to compete rather than cooperate.
While the European Union has competition law which prohibits price fixing and other restrictive practices such as production limitation, even in cases where an oligopoly represents the most profitable outcome for its industry, government officials in charge of enforcing antitrust laws may be pressurised into enforcing the antitrust laws at the expense of the economic health of the industry.
Yeah, which is one of the major disadvantages of competition laws. But then there's also the major assumption behind the antitrust laws and competition rules that unrestricted competition is the best and most desirable outcome, but that can result in few winning, many losing, which would then result in the fact of oligopolistic practices being reintroduced. And then there's also the issue of it lowering efficiency, where it might force dominant firms to lower their prices, lower profits, therefore producing inefficient outcomes.
So when a company, a group of companies become dominant forces within their industry, the antitrust laws seek to correct this apparent competitive imbalance. The laws accomplish this by compelling the dominant entities to engage in the same behaviour as they would in a more competitive environment, such as charging lower prices, which can lead to lower profits and inefficient outcomes. So now that we've gone through the core concepts, the major traits, descriptions and analysis of government intervention and the pros and cons of each market structure, in doing so we hope we've succeeded in putting the U back in economics, and that the notes and bibliographies in our description will help on your journey as you learn more about this thrilling field.
So for the last time, goodbye, and remember, economics, it's about you.